Hello friendos and randos, welcome back to the Grand Asia Open final recast, and we are in the final round. We're gonna look at Yin versus Johnson, and they are competing for the World Championship. It looks like Yin here on the left has gone second. I want to say he's on 7 Dawn now. He was able to ramp with a gear second, I believe, and then also hit a god thread off of life, which is crazy. He will be able to use the 5 cost Nami to set up a 9 cost Sanji play on the 9 Dawn turn, which will give him a lot of tempo advantage over Johnson here, who just won over Noel Lim. Now Johnson is also going to be on the blue purple Luffy, does have the bonk play setting himself up to 5 Dawn, and did counter out of the first 6k swing with a gear second. If Johnson here has a god threat to answer this 5 cost Nami, that would be a very good tempo swing to put him in the initiative. He does have a 5 cost Nami instead, and this will allow him to set up his own 9 cost Sanji into 9 cost play the following turn, which would also return the tempo back in his favor. He does not have ramp at the moment. However, both players you can see playing basically mirrored sides of the game, showing some respect for that Thunder Bagua. 9 cost Sanji available for Yin. It is not. 9 cost Lin Lin is the play, so no Sanji here. Whether it's the 5 cost Nami or the bonk play sent to the bottom of Johnson's life, let's find out very shortly. It is gonna be the Nami on the top of life and 6k swing into Johnson. 9 cost Lin Lin being used means that Johnson cannot use Thunder Bagua to ramp. So it's just gonna take that Nami back to his hand, and Johnson goes back to his turn. Now the question is, does Johnson have the 9 cost Sanji? Here's the 6k swing from Johnson into Yin. He does counter out with a Zoro Juro. Is there a 9 cost Sanji for Johnson to allow him to take the lead on the board? 9 cost Lin Lin would put the situation back. Similarly, that 5 cost Nami will be removed. Here is a 9k swing into the leader of Yin, putting the life back, and there is the 9 cost Sanji. So there is gonna be a lead given to Johnson. However, Yin picks up his own 9 cost Sanji, sends the remaining cards to the bottom, though we aren't gonna see him get something off the top. Guaranteed, he might have to go blind. 6k swing into the bonk play is blocked by Charlotte Katakuri. Nami does finish the job. 9k swing from the Charlotte Lin Lin, countered out by 2 2ks, and there is a 8 cost Katakuri for Yin. He isn't able to return the Sanji here. If Johnson has a second Sanji, he will take the lead on board significantly. Let's see what he goes for from this top 5 search. Again, there is a Usohachi. I don't see any big bodies. He sends the cards to the bottom. However, even playing one additional 8 or 9 cost body will be an advantage. 6k swing into the Nami blocker here is countered out by a bonk. Here is a 8k swing. Gum Gum Giant protects Nami from that swing. Here is a Charlotte Lin Lin discarded. That's 2 already dropped for Yin. He's losing on his Charlotte Lin Lin's 8 cost Katakuri is dropped for Johnson. Let's see if Yin can answer with his 9 cost Sanji he drew last turn. Here is the top 5 search for him now. Usohachi is taken. The remaining cards are sent to the top. However, let's see what the 9 cost Sanji does end up calling. 6k swing into leader, blocked by Katakuri. 8k swing into leader, now countered with a block and the Nami. Now 9k swing from the Charlotte Lin Lin is countered with Gum Gum Giant. Another Charlotte Lin Lin is discarded by Johnson. 9 cost Sanji goes into 8 cost Katakuri, and Yin is in the lead in terms of board right now. 2 Katakuris with an additional 9 cost Lin Lin. However, Johnson is still able to use his own 9 cost Lin Lins to heal back up, and that will be a big difference. Here is the Gum Gum Giant now for Johnson, taken off the top, sends the remaining cards to the bottom, goes for his turn. This is an untimed round to my understanding, so there isn't a time limit. Yeah, these players are playing super fast. These early turns are gonna be easy to play out. I'm sure they've played them over and over again. 8k swing by Charlotte Katakuri, countered out with the gear second. 2 Katakuri blockers available for Yin to save himself an additional 2k counter each time. Johnson, after the first 8k swing, now just thinking slowing down, taking his time, considering the options. There is a 9-cost Sanji available in his hand. However, he did send his remaining deck top 5 to the bottom, so he doesn't have a guaranteed hit. He can go for the blind here to try and hit a 9-cost Lin or another 8-cost Katakuri, but the odds are so much lower now. He does just go for attached on 10k swing into the leader of Yin, trying to force him down low on life. We already know he discarded 2 Charlotte Lin. Here's another 10k swing with the Katakuri. Block plus 3 will answer this. However, that's 2 hand cards still out of Yin's hand. Here is the block plus 3 as mentioned. Usohachi Bonclay used to protect. I think 4 cards left in hand for Yin. He does have a red rock, so that will allow him to swing the tempo again. Here's a big ass swing into the Katakuri. He does let it go. However, that only equalizes the board. Yin does see his top 5. There is another red rock here. What will be the choice? There is a red rock already in hand, so there's no need to grab this red rock now. Back-to-back red rocks on the 2 Charlotte Katakuris could be massive. However, just goes for a bottom deck on the rest. Here is one bottomed 8k swing into the face of Johnson, trying to force a block plus 1, trying to force a gear second. It is going to be that block plus 1 here. And now Red Rock sends the other Katakuri to the bottom of Johnson's deck. And once again, Yin is in the lead on board. 4 active Dawn remaining, 6k swing into Johnson's face, trying to force as much cards out of his hand as possible. 4 Dawn remaining. How will he attack? Here is a Charlotte Lin ready to turn sideways. It is going to be a 10k swing into Johnson's face. He's going to force Gum Gum Giant plus 1k. Gum Gum Giant alone will not be enough. Here is one more Dawn on this 9-cost Sanji. Kick into Johnson's face. Will there be the Gum Gum Giant? Will there be the 1k counter? Or will Johnson go down to 0 life in this very crucial matchup, that very crucial breakpoint? Gum Gum Giant is going to be cast. What will be discarded for it? It is going to be between 2 cards, it looks like, for Johnson. One of them is Thunder Bagua. The other one, I can't see so clear. It is going to be the Thunder Bagua here. Dawn -2, draws 2 cards, and counters out with another Nami. Yin will set his Charlotte Katakuri and Lin active, and we can see here there is again a differential in the board. 1 9-cost body, 1 9k attack, but each one of these will make a significant difference. But we did see Johnson have another 9-cost Sanji, and there is an 8-cost Katakuri on the top of his deck. He can take the lead again. There's also a 9-cost Lin on the top of Johnson's deck. He can go up to 2 life again, and that will be so huge for him, and he will swing the tempo back in his lead. However, let's see what will be the response from Yin here. He does have 2 active Dawn. He can counter out fairly safely. Here's the 8k swing from Charlotte Katakuri, countered out with the gear second again by Yin. 6k swing now from the Luffy leader, will be countered out with the Franosuke we saw Yin take earlier. Will there be a Gum Gum Giant for this swing? It is going to be block plus Usohachi. Here's the 9-cost Sanji, and there is the 9-cost Lin, and there is the tempo swing we were talking about. Here comes the life differential. Johnson's back on 2, and Yin is still at 1, and now Yin is also down 1 body. So there is gonna be a pretty big difference here in terms of the boards. 1 extra life, 1 extra attack. All of this makes a difference in this mirror. 6 cards left in hand for Johnson. He does have 1 Dawn open, and he does have the full 10 Dawn, so can use Gum Gum Giant very safely here and still use his leader effect. Here is the Zorojiro taken off the top of Yin's deck. There is a gear second as well drawn for turn. Now, how will Yin proceed here? He has the 3 character 6k swing with leader is going to be starting us off. Nope, it's 9k from the Sanji. Ifrit Jambe into face Gum Gum Giant discards a 8-cost Katakuri. So that is all 4 of Johnson's Katakuris revealed already. Draws 2 cards, 6k swing from UP Luffy leader. Here is the Zorojiro to counter, 8k swing now with the Charlotte Katakuri. It will be block plus 1 or 3k counter. It is just going to be a take, and here's the 9k swing from the Charlotte Lin. block +2 Will's answer. Here is the block +2, and here we go. What will be the play? Here is 9 cost Sanji into 8 cost Katakuri, and Yin is setting up for the 2-turn lethal. He has completed the board of 8 and 9k bodies. 1 Dawn open only. However, Johnson has 4 big attacks coming Yin's way. Will he have enough to protect himself? Only 4 cards in hand, 3 cards in hand, sorry, and one of them is gear second. It's not gonna be the Gum Gum Giant. It's not gonna be a miracle card that allows you to have 4k counter and stay net neutral in the number of cards in your hand. It's just gonna be a very balanced counter event. A la guard point. Here is the 8k swing. Yin immediately takes. He's not afraid, or he's trying to pretend he's not afraid. What is available left for him? Johnson, 10 Dawn left, 4 attacks, only 2 Charlotte Katakuri blockers. If he splits all of these evenly, 3 plus 7 Dawn remaining, can go for 11, 10, 10, 10. Here is the first 10. We're gonna see a scoop up for Yin. He knows he's lost, and there it is. Looks like we have more One Piece to play here, folks. In fact, this is a best of 3. We're going to see Johnson take the first game as Blue Purple Luffy into Yin, and now they're gonna go for game 2. We never have best of 3s in Asia. I'm super caught off guard by this, so I'm very shocked. But let's continue. I thought it was Jova for Yin already, so I was expecting a little bit more frustration. So it looks like Yin is gonna be first this time, and unfortunately just didn't have the right hits last time. He did go first. He did hit ramp into ramp trigger into Nami, but just didn't have the 9 cost Sanji to take advantage of that. So let's see if he can have that this time. He did keep his starting hand, no mulligan. Meanwhile, Johnson is mulliganing his starting hand. Let's see if there is gonna be the same curve as last game. Just like we saw earlier, he will want Bon Clay, Nami, set up the top 2, Sanji into Katakuri. That is the God curve. You really want to see that. Ramp, Nami, Bagua, and then Sanji. Pass to Johnson, 1 Dawn, 2 Dawn, both pass. 6k swing into Johnson. He most likely takes here. Here it is, goes down to 2. No ramp trigger this time. Here's the Zorojiro. Johnson goes for his 4 Dawn turn. Does he have a Zorojiro of his own, or will it be a Bon Clay or gear second? Here's a 6k swing into Yin's leader. He also takes this. No ramp trigger this time. Here's the Bon Clay, ramps up to 5. Now goes back to Yin. He gets to draw for turn. Now 5 Dawn turn. Does he have the God Threat to answer this Bon Clay? It's gonna be the Zorojiro swing into leader to ramp, and then a 6k swing, which will probably be guarded by Johnson. He does actually take it, wants to get that ramp trigger real bad. Here's the Bon Clay into gear second ramp, and Yin is already at 8 Dawn and will have his leader effect next turn. However, Johnson just needs to ramp 1 time to match this. Will have a lot of options available. God Threat would be fantastic to answer this Bon Clay. 6k swing goes into leader. Yin is not going to be deterred. Here's the Bon Clay to match the 4 Dawn active, and here's another Bon Clay, just setting up Bon Clays on the board. Here is 3 Bon Clays, and remember, this is gonna be actually pretty scary for Yin, because if he does develop 9 plus 9 here, all those Bon Clays are gonna swing into Yin for 9k attack each. Here's the Usohashi taken off the top 5. Now Yin draws for turn. Did he see a 9 cost Sanji play here, or is it just going to be a single 9 cost just like last game? Remember, the 9 cost play here is actually pretty scary. 6k swing into the leader of Johnson. He does have to counter. Here's the 9 cost Sanji into the 9 cost Lin. And now we are activated. All of these Bon Clays are going to swing for 9 the following turn. 9 cost Lin is discarded for the 9 cost Lin effect. He used 1 and sends one of the Bon Clays to the top of Johnson's life. Zorojiro swings, setting another active Dawn, and Yin is back on 10 again. Can use things like Thunder Bagua or Gum Gum Giant to keep himself healthy after these Bon Clays come in for 9k swings. Johnson is going to have his own turn here. Looking at the top 5 here, these Bon Clays are going to be very, very scary attackers. However, they will, of course, be taken down the following turn. I think it's still worth it. They do get at least 4k counter or 1 life. That's going to be a huge difference again in this mirror where every margin matters. However, looking at Johnson's top 5 now, it doesn't look like there's a good option for a Sanji play. It looks like a lot of counter events. It looks like a lot of nothing. He doesn't want any of that right now. What are we going to see? Is it going to be just Gum Gum Giant taken and then a blind 9-cost Sanji? No, it's going to be the disciplined play. There is an 8-cost Katakuri in hindsight, but maybe he just doesn't have the 9-cost Sanji in hand. Here is going to be the refresh. We're going to see these Bon Clays turn sideways most likely. And I wonder if we will see the Zorjo get hit into. Here is the 624. There is an 8-cost Katakuri available for Johnson. And that is likely gonna be the play since he did not put the other 8-cost Katakuri in his top 5 to the top of his deck. Now, are these Bon Clays swinging sideways? They are. 9k swing into the bottom decks, the other Bon Clay, and Yin navigates that situation beautifully, suddenly no longer in danger, all thanks to his triple ramp, is able to be in a position where he doesn't have to deal with all of those 9k swings, and Red Rock immediately taken off the top 5 to answer this 8-cost Katakuri now. Will draw for turn, answer this 8-cost Katakuri, and suddenly he's back in the control again. First, the Bon Clay has to swing so that he can get that 8k swing off. Will get a block +1, and then now the 6k swing into the Bon Clay. 9k swings from the Sanji and Lin Lin are about to come out. Here is the Gum Gum Giant to answer. Don -2 draws 2 cards. And then here is the other Charlotte Lin Lin about to swing as well. Yin, considering attaching 1 Don here, doesn't need the defense at the moment, already has a big life differential. Gear second +1 keeps... Oh, 9-cost Luffy players! And there is the Don -1 rush 10k swing into the Katakuri. He does allow that Katakuri to stay alive by countering with 3k. However, the difference in board is staggering right now. And Red Rock is still available for Yin. Next turn, the Red Rock was not there to be used immediately to answer. However, it was there to scare Johnson, to force him to block the Katakuri 8k swing with the Bon Clay copy, and then after that force him to take a lot of hand damage. Now is the 9-cost Lin Lin play for Johnson. He sets himself back to 3 life now and 1 Don active, 2 cards in hand. However, Yin has that 9-cost Luffy diff right now, and he can Red Rock this 8-cost Katakuri to set himself in an even further lead. Let's see what he will do here. Now, let's say he goes for a swing first. Never mind, he already goes for the Red Rock. I was gonna say he could bait out the block and then Red Rock the 9 mom instead, but no, here is gonna be swings from Yin. He's going to try and force damage in. Here's an 8k swing into Johnson. Gum Gum Giant is gonna be an option, however currently doesn't seem like he has it. Does take now 9k swing from Sanji, 9k swing from Charlotte Lin Lin, and then an 11k swing from Luffy. It is countered with the Gum Gum Giant. Don -2 draws 2 cards. Uso Hachi to counter out again. And Johnson goes back to his turn. Looks like his top 5, but this is looking grim. That 9-cost Luffy is the difference maker. Gear second is taken for Johnson. Draws for turn and he scoops it up. And we are going to a game 3, ladies and gentlemen. That 9-cost Luffy making the huge difference in this matchup. What a massive play by Yin. Really taking the full knowledge of the matchup and really sending every advantage he can get. Taking the Red Rock, making Johnson play around it. And then suddenly the 9-cost Luffy appears and says, you may be gear 4th, but I am gear 5th. And here we are going to game 3rd, and let's head into it. What are we gonna see in terms of the adaptations from the players? This is One Piece. There's no sideboards or anything like that. However, in terms of the game plan, we saw Yin absolutely high roll. He was able to go first, ram 3 times and get his leader effect off early, plus go Sanji into Charlotte Lin Lin, and also answer that triple Bon Clay play from Johnson beautifully. However, will he be so fortunate this game? Let's find out. He is likely gonna have to go second this time. I believe loser gets to choose turn order, and Yin is gonna shuffle up the deck of Johnson as well. Here we are, both players getting ready for the most important game of their lives, maybe the World Championships on the line. Although the runner-up does still get a direct shot into the area finals, the Asia finals. I mean, that will still be a fantastic position. However, being directly qualified to Worlds, of course, much better. Yin deciding on his mulligan. Same here with Johnson. Johnson and Yin both choosing. This is the final game. This is the most important game. Nothing but the best. I want to high roll again. I want to ram 3 times again. And I want to Sanji into Lin Lin twice. And Sanji into Lin Lin all the way to Worlds. And that is gonna be the idea here. Let's see what both players have in store for us. We now know Yin has that 9-cost Luffy tag. I wonder if Johnson has the same, or he is playing a more straightforward list. We will find out. The Red Rock, the 9-cost Luffy playing such a big part in this game right now. But Johnson, for the first time in this series, is going to be going first. In game 1 he went second, but still managed to come back after being faced with ramp into ramp trigger. Both players just getting ready. This is going to be such a crucial match for both of them. One Piece card game is going to be huge. Still, even next year is going to be such a key game to watch, and these players want to be on its biggest stage. 1 Don, 2 Don, both turns pass. Is there a Zorojuro or a gear second for Johnson? 6k swing, most likely a take. Here it is, and there is the gear second. Johnson already has 1 out of 3 rams. Now Yin on his 4 Don turn, does he have the Bon Clay? We're gonna see what the options are for Yin. Remember, he did mulligan, so we don't know if the hand is good or not. We're gonna hope, of course, that we have a game on our hands. No one wants to see a one-sided stomp at this stage of the tournament. It is looking like the Zorojuro, so it's not Bon Clay, but it is still ramp. However, Johnson has the opportunity to answer this with a God Shred here, and if he does, that's going to be massive for him. Here's a 6k swing, no, 7k swing into the leader of Yin. Yin takes, hoping for a ramp trigger, does not find it. Bon Clay comes down for Johnson and leaving 2 Don open for the Thunder Bagua. However, this means that Yin swinging 4k with this Zorojuro will allow Johnson to get his triple ramp. Here is the 5-cost Nami, and no other options for Yin right now. No second ramp so far. He may have a Thunder Bagua, but won't be played into by Johnson for sure. And Johnson here with the Bon Clay, with the 2 Don open, really forcing Yin to think here. If he doesn't respect the Thunder Bagua, he won't be able to catch up from the triple ramp going first. I think Yin knows that as well, and there is the respect from Yin. He isn't going to let Johnson ramp 1 extra time and get his leader effect 1 turn early. Yin, however, doesn't get to ramp at all in this case. 6k swing is countered by Bon Clay. 1k counter. Does Johnson have a Katakuri to play here? Would put him in the lead for sure. And there is the Thunder Bagua in the hand of Johnson, so we do see it was the correct call to show that respect 100%. Here's a 6k swing from the Bon Clay, forcing Yin to lose hand cards again. It could just be that he doesn't have enough counter at all and is forced to break out here. It is going to be a take from Yin. He goes to 0 life already. This is not what you want to see for sure. He's very unhappy about that, already being foiled on his ramp plan with his Zorojuro by the Thunder Bagua. And there's the 8-cost category setting Johnson up to 10 Don. No leader effect yet for Yin. Draws 4 turn, is on 0 life, 8 Don total. We are gonna see him finally be able to ramp with this Zorojuro, but it's too little too late. He's already on 8. What's the point? He goes to 9. He can go for something like the 9-cost Lin Lin to set himself back to 1 life, but what else will be the case? It's the 8-cost category and 1 Don open. So now Yin has a lead on board. However, look at the life difference, 0 to 2. Johnson looking at the top 5. If he has something to play off of the Sanji, this will be massive for him. Gum Gum Giant is taken off. The top 5 remaining 4 go down to the bottom. No Sanji play this turn. However, he will have that Gum Gum Giant for defense, and there is a 8-cost category here. We can see Johnson do something like just force a huge amount of counter. 8k swing with this Sharded category could be blocked +1, and then we could see something like a Usohashi, but no, Gum Gum Giant is here showing the respect, discarding a non-counter card. There is the 8-cost Katakuri, draws 2 cards, and then back to Johnson. If he wants to try and develop a body, this 6k swing will get blocked. However, will Yin have to play around 9-cost Luffy? That is going to be a very scary proposition still, and that's what Yin is thinking about. He does let go of the Zorojiro, showing some respect for the 9-cost Luffy play, and there is the 9-cost Lin Lin coming down. Don -1 will set this Nami to the life. Maybe it is not gonna be sent to life, just left as a blocker instead, and Yin gets to use his leader effect for the first time this game. 9-cost Lin Lin puts Johnson back at 3 life, and that is the gap between Yin and Johnson right now. 3 life cards and 1 extra 9k body. Gum Gum Giant is taken for Yin. He draws for turn, and there is the Dawn Phase. Refresh 6k swing into leader. Does Johnson block? He does. 3 life here. Doesn't have to pay as much respect as Yin did for him the previous turn. His hand size so huge. Nami goes for a 6k swing. Katakuri goes for an 8k swing. We do know Johnson is in the lead, and Yin needs to catch up. He can't afford to let these Namis stay active, and Katakuri played again, and 0 life still for Yin. However, 2 8-cost Katakuris will be able to help him show up his defense, but this is definitely not the position you want to be in the mirror. 3 life differential, such a massive difference in the level of safety here, and Johnson draws for turn, goes back to him again. 9k swings available, 8k swing first from the Charlotte Katakuri. Gear second will answer this completely. There's also a Gum Gum Giant that we saw him take earlier. There is a gear second brought to the front of the hand. There is the gear second. Now will there be a 10k swing? Here's the 6k swing with the leader is countered with Gum Gum Giant. That is a massive telling use of that Gum Gum Giant. No events available. 9k swing from the Charlotte Lin Lin block plus 2k. Very thankful Yin is to have been able to draw 2ks off that Gum Gum Giant. Now leader effect top 5 again. Charlotte Katakuri taken. Charlotte Sanji, not yet. You didn't marry in the end, but Sanji is taken for Yin. Will he have the Charlotte Lin Lin to set himself at 1 life and be in a safer position? Remember, Yin still has this Nami blocker as well that was turned sideways last turn, but can just stay standing this time. We are gonna see Yin play the 9-cost Sanji this turn maybe, or he might just go for the 9-cost Lin Lin in hand. Here's a 6k swing from leader into Johnson's face. Let's see how he reacts. We are gonna still see 2 more 8-cost Katakuris turn sideways later in the turn, so the first 6k swing is blocked by Katakuri. 6k swing from Nami is countered by Zorojiro. 8k swing from Katakuri now blocked +1, and then 8k swing into the leader of Johnson could be gear seconded, but it is gonna be Gum Gum Giant again. Dawn -2, draw 2 cards, and there is the 9-cost Sanji coming down. Is it Lin Lin? It is. Discards 1 card and sets himself back at 1 life again, and Yin is in a very commanding lead on board right now, but the difference in hand cannot be understated. Remember last turn, Yin countered out of a 6k swing with Gum Gum Giant. His hand is a fucking shithouse. He's going to be able to counter out with his 2 Katakuris, with his Gum Gum Giant, but it is going to be a very precarious position still. He is only at 6 cards in hand, I believe. There is a Thunder Bagua as well, which currently isn't useful. He does grab Usohachi off of the top Johnson. He does. There is going to be 3 characters available for him, Katakuri and Charlotte Lin Lin. There's the pudding! Shuffle your hand back in. I know it was shit, but I bet it can get shittier. Yin now having to face against this Charlotte pudding, having to face against all the bricks that he cycled away, now being put back into his deck, and maybe being put back straight into his hand. 2 8-cost Katakuris available, but 4 attacks from Johnson. How will this develop? Even if Yin is forced to lose both of his Katakuris, I think that is a powerful Charlotte pudding play still, and Johnson is in a safe position to do this because of that 3-1 life differential. Is Yin gonna be able to draw that Gum Gum Giant? Very, very crucially, here's the 9k swing. We will find out maybe right now. 1 Dawn open, 5 cards in hand, all shuffled. Random from Charlotte Pudding takes the 1 life. Does he not have it? 9k swing from the Charlotte Katakuri now. Block +2 would do the trick. However, that would leave him open to the remaining 5 Dawn for Johnson. He can split this halfways. 10/9. One more Gum Gum Giant would answer that. He does have a Thunder Bagua, but that's not enough. Here's the 9k swing, block +2. Will show some form of strength, maybe scare Johnson into not proceeding. How many 2ks did Yin draw? And that will be the answer. 2-1-1 from Yin. 9k swing forced to be blocked, 9k swing forced to be blocked, and there goes the 2 Charlotte Katakuris, and the Charlotte putting in so much work. Here is the Uso Hachi drawn now for Yin, and did he at least get a 9 cost Lin? We don't know. He does get to draw for turn. Here is the Uso Hachi drawn for leader effect. The body situation has flipped. No more 8 cost Katakuri for Yin means no more free block +1, no more counter saved, and he is still on 0 life. And here we are gonna turn everything sideways. 10k swing into leader with the Sanji, 10k swing into leader with the Charlotte Lin. Both are taken by Johnson immediately. Here is the 5 cost Nami for Yin. He gets to cycle again. There is gonna be a gear second. There is gonna be a 9 cost Sanji, which does probably get sent to the bottom of his deck. Yin still has 2 blockers, but also 3 non-active. Does Johnson have enough to take the game? We saw him draw Uso Hachi earlier, so at least one of these Namis is gonna be turned sideways by her. 9 cost Sanji taken for Johnson. He does have 4 cards remaining to choose from. Maybe has another Uso Hachi, maybe has a God Thread to answer the second Nami. We already saw him draw one Uso Hachi earlier. We're gonna see one of them come down for sure. 9k swing into leader with the Charlotte Lin countered out by Thunder Bagua. We're gonna see maybe another 9k swing with this Katakuri. Johnson knows there was no Gum Gum Giant earlier. Gear second is used here. 8k swing blocked by Nami. Here is gonna be the Uso Hachi Snake Oil Salesman. Rest the Nami, and there is the game. And Johnson is your World Championship representative for Asia. The first one that is crowned at the Grand Asia Open. Yin is going to be going to the Asia Finals to try and make it back into the World Championship. But today, the winner is Johnson. Blue Purple Luffy, very, very balanced deck. And even at these high levels of play, sometimes you understand. Sometimes you high roll, sometimes you low roll, and sometimes you just don't have anything and your opponent Charlotte puddings you and you have nothing again. That being said, that was certainly a series, a best of 3 for the Asias. I never see best of 3, so it was fun to cast this as well, and what an exciting set of games for sure. Congratulations to both the players for their respective achievements, the World Championships for Johnson and the Asia Finals for Yin, and definitely look out to see more of these players in the respective tournaments. That being said, friendos and randos, I will see you guys again next time. Peace out.